All right, Cubs fam, we are back. It is Friday. We got some Galaxy of Heroes business to talk about. What a rough couple weeks we have been through, Cubs fam. And I have got the one and only AP Gaines here to talk about all of this business. I feel like I'm talking to John Lennon or something right now.
Hey man, we like to keep it spicy. We like to keep it spicy over here. I have plenty of props, but I gave the best for you because you're kind of cute.
What? Oh wow. I don't know how to respond.
Let's respond with the video, Cubs, because we're professionals. I feel like I'm you and you're Grid, I feel like this is how the tables have turned, how the turns have tabled, my friend.
Yeah, this is like 2 videos in a row that have started with just absolutely, completely professional. Nothing.
They say 2 videos is a trend, so you better be careful.
So here's what we're going to talk about today in this video. Galaxy of Heroes, for a long time, AP Games, I think you'll probably agree, game felt like it was in a really great place for a while. Pretty much from the Vader rework on, I think things felt really good, and especially, it's pretty much been peak at maybe the release of Conquest, and since then, it just feels like we've taken steps in a direction that have really kind of frustrated the community right now. So I wanted to make today's video a little bit of an open feedback letter to Capital Games to kind of go over what are the big things that we think as heads of the community. We're out there in the trenches getting lots of comments and feedback every day that we're monitoring. What are the most important things that CG should be thinking about right now that we think should change? And we're kind of going to do that in a way where we're not really going to pay a lot of mind for what do we think could change, what do we not think is going to change. Let's just get out there. What do we think is most important? So I'll let you start, AP Gaines. What do you think is really important right now?
Well, funny you say that this is an open letter to Capital Games. I literally came directly from Crumb's Twitch stream to do this video. And one of the most common things that I end up saying in his Zoom calls is, Conquest is really kind of boring right now. And I always make sure to throw in that little spicy jab that, hey, man, this game mode's not exactly the most entertaining in the world, but it is boring? A necessity. So boring, yes. Other verb. What are some other words? You're a walking thesaurus, my friend.
Grind,
agitating,
miserable, infuriating, stressful, consuming,
necessary. And that's the one that's really important, Cubs fan. And that's the one that we have to pay attention to. Necessary. Because in the past, with Galactic Legends first coming out, they were broken. The free-to-play community, which is the community that I mostly hang out with, was quite furious, just like now with Executor. We can't beat it. But what they did was really smart. They made it easy to spend money on these things. It was as simple as there's gear, there's packs, you can go buy them. And that allowed those people who pay to keep the game running, it gave them an easy avenue to get the things that they want and to continue. And yes, there were some problems with some balance, but eventually it got better. And like you said, we built up to that point at Conquest where it seemed like we're at a high. Now what they've done is they've made that easy transaction of, I'm going to spend some money, I'm going to get some stuff, I'm going to stay relevant, to now I have to spend money and I have to grind for 40 hours. I have to do a real work week in order to stay competitive. And that's why you're seeing people frustrated, because it's not that they don't want to spend the money or that they can't spend the money. So they don't want to do the money and the time because they should be substitutes for each other.
Yeah, and I think that's where it gets interesting, because a lot of the complaints that I see come out of the Galaxy of Heroes community tend to be from the free-to-play community. Not always, but tend to be, the monetization of the game, right? And the paywall, right? In this case, it's interesting because it's really not about the paywall at all. It's just about how much of a burden this is. Like, I was talking to several whales who decided not to even try for the max crate, and these are guys who got Lord Vader day one, and it's not worth that much of a time investment for them with their huge decked out rosters to even go for it in a way that they'll get Maul on day one. I think that says a lot about when we're talking about Conquest specifically. And so if we're going to boil this down to kind of a specific feedback item, what do you think it would be for you, AP Gaines?
Well, I think an issue that they raised, and I'll take as an acceptable, issue that they want to fix, is they want to keep people engaged in the game for longer. For, as long as we can remember, it's kind of you show up at your energy refreshes, you show up for GAC TWs, and you kind of play for an hour and that's it. Yeah. And they wanted to push people playing the game longer, building, maybe more interest in the game for certain communities. That's fine. But what they did is they forced us to do a specific thing. If you play, I see you play Madden or Halo from time to time, on your Twitch, and
Right.
that's always enjoyable. But what you're doing is you're picking a way to spend your time. You're investing your time in that game, doing things you want. It's not because, you have to grind out Madden Ultimate Packs, or you have to hit a certain rank in Halo so that the MLG Pro Bros will invite you to their guild. It's because that is enjoyable.
Yeah.
And that's the issue here is Conquest was enjoyable. I'm not going to get in the whole, cooling system debate, whatever, it's gone. But they forced us that time investment into something that not everyone thinks is an enjoyable game mode, and that's the problem.
And it definitely felt like a game mode that initially was packaged as, this is for the fun of the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of gone well beyond that. So here's, so this was one of my top feedback items, and I want to run this by you and hear what you think about this. So kind of where this was born was a desire, which you already just highlighted, to make it a more daily event that people are engaging with every single day instead of finishing it in a couple days, right? And so I actually really like that they're trying to address that, because if we complete it in a day or two and then it's just sitting there dead for 10 days, then yeah, it feels like there's something wrong with it. And so I think maybe it's not so much that they need to make it a daily grind for 2 weeks, but maybe that 2-week time frame is too long.
Absolutely.
And so what if we were to take Conquest and have it be a 1-week event? You do 1 week on, 1 week off, and you've got 1 week where, yeah, you've built the feats around every single day this week. You're probably going to need to be in there doing something. And then it's a 1 week slog instead of two, that's half a month. Like, it's so long. And when I did it, I did almost every day I was doing stuff, but I took 1 weekend off because college football had their opening weekend, or no, it was the NFL opening weekend. I was just like,
your boys made history, man.
I was just BYU and the Seahawks, but my two teams both went out and killed it. I was just like, I don't have time for anything else. I've been thinking about football. And I suffered dearly for that, for just taking 3 days off to focus on football and stuff. That was too much. And so do you think that would be kind of like a way to meet in the middle on this?
Absolutely. I'm actually, in full agreement. I've talked about this before. I think a lot of people have talked about this because I feel like it is a pretty obvious answer that everyone all over the community is coming up with. It's not like a unique thing. Like, I'm not the only person. You're not the only person. Joe Schmo
No.
is
This
not the only
is
person.
only my idea.
Yes, exactly. Because you are easily the most smart. I can't even construct the sentence because I'm not as smart as you.
You need to respect
That's
my
kind
authority.
of exactly. Just like you need to be intimidated by my strong and commanding stature at 5'3", I need to respect your intelligence.
You're 5.
Dude, I'm scary.
Are you really 5'3"?
Short King's got to rule the world someday.
Hold on. Are you really 5'3"?
Yes. Don't. The most flack I get is not for being 5'3". It's the fact that my girlfriend's 5'4". But when I wear heels out to prom, I'm bigger than her. So
I gotta meet you in real life now, so I can just pat you on the head.
Yeah, that's why I'm hoping CG never has an in-person event, because I do not want to be in those vlog videos.
You already outed yourself, man. Like, the cat's out of the bag. I would have had no idea.
I mean, I'm a confident 5'3", but like I'm saying,
do you have the little man syndrome? Is it a little bit of that?
Yeah, I get angry very quickly, and I've become funny so that people value me for something other than my commanding. Oh, look at the muscles! I'm so big. But yeah.
Hey, as long as you own it,
Exactly.
You can't control how tall you are. It's no big deal.
Exactly. The only thing we control is how much insert bad word we give Capital Games for making Conquest too long.
I was gonna say, this is almost turning into a therapy session, and let's direct that therapy towards CG. Fix your game.
Yeah, but I think a shorter Conquest. And I think GC actually has like the perfect 2 to 3 days, because there's often times where I come across Bad Batch feet, and I'll have Bad Batch or Ewoks, or the Jawa one infuriated me. And the turnaround is so quickly. Like, yes, I'm less competitive because I'm not going to have those slicing materials or whatever I get, but there's a quick enough turnaround to where I can get back in there. So that's why I agree with you. If they halved or, quartered the time it took for Conquest, but also did the rewards. So, sometimes you get feats and you're like, man, these feats are really great for my roster. Maybe I'm a 4 million GP and I got the Jawas and I got the Ewoks, but I don't have the Bad Batch. When those really random ones come up, I can power through and get Red Crate. But then, the second time around, I don't have it. And then the third time around, I have the Old Republic or whatever it is. So it gives people more turnaround and more opportunities to max out, a quarter or a half or a third or whatever the slice is of those rewards. So it's not like you miss 2 whole weeks, 50 mall shards or whatever it is that you'd be missing out if you, can't compete for 2 weeks.
And then here's another portion that I want to add to this, and then I want to move away from Conquest and talk a little bit more generally. But with the feats, it's not just about the amount of grind. I can envision somebody at CG maybe watching this video right now thinking, well, you guys asked us for content. We gave you content. Like, there's a lot to do here. And they're not wrong. There is a lot to do here. But the repetitive nature of a lot of the feats is also an issue in and of itself. The feats where it is literally designed to make you do every single battle in the game like 5 times each. Those mini boss nodes where you have to do them at least 3 times, right? Or you've got how many feats where you've got to do 14 battles. And so what you're going to do is you're going to pick the easiest node you can find, and that's the one you're going to hit 14 times with your Geonosians. I think those are the kind of feats, like, if we're not going to change the length of Conquest, those need to go.
Absolutely.
If we're going to try to find engaging feats and challenging feats, we need to find that challenge without so much repetition.
I think the feats need to, and I have 2 ideas that I've talked a little bit about, and I want to bounce them off you because, getting your insight will help, increase the value of these recommendations.
It's the only way for them to have value. If it doesn't come through me, then it's worthless.
Again, we're going back to you're the smartest man in the world, and, got to run it by you. So I had 2 kind of similar ideas. Either they add a butt ton of feats and they're just shorter. So it's not like 14 battles with Geos. It's like do 2 battles with Geos, but also do 2 battles with this and 2 battles. And you have to, have everything. And that could
survive. What if we had a feat that was like win a battle with Coruscant Underworld Police surviving? Something like that.
Not trying to make myself more powerful than you, because at 5'3" I obviously am. In GAC today I brought in 4 level 1 characters and none of them were touched, and I got a nice 59 banners. So it can be done, ladies and gentlemen.
You were 10 short of the big time though. 10 short of the big time.
Yeah, well, Rudy and
that's probably the biggest feedback we could give CG is, can we please have an option to get 69 banners in a Grand Arena battle? I guess you can do it in ships.
Man, I do it in ships. My entire strategy, win, lose, or draw, is all about getting those double 69s in fleet battles. And that's all that I pride myself on. And I'm not trying to brag. I'm very good at it. Very, very good at it.
Nice.
But then my other one, besides, having a bunch of feats and they're shorter, maybe it's like a 24-hour cycle where they have a bunch of feats. And let's say that 24 hours, it's win 5 battles with Geonosians and you got the Geonosians, so you get it. But let's say you don't have Geonosians. 24 hours later, because it's a 2-week event, it cycles into a team that you do have. Use Galactic Republic to win 5 battles.
Like every day we log in and there's a different group of feats.
Exactly. And it's like maybe it's 1 and maybe it's only like six burritos per, but like it's cycling in. So if you're at that point where you're, 20 away from the red crate and you absolutely cannot remove, 10,974.296813% turn meter from SLKR or whatever it is, you can wait a couple of days, and that will incentivize people to play every day, because, if you log in and, there's my Old Republic or my Galactic Republic or whatever it is, I can get those 6, and then I come in tomorrow and maybe it's not my feat, so I mess around a little bit, try to get the TM removal. And then I come in the next day and I can get it, and then I can make up those banners and get that red crate in the end.
Love that idea. I haven't thought about that yet. That must be your idea only.
Yes, I told you that I had bounced this off of other people, but I'm really an improv guy. I literally made that up as I was talking, and it just started sounding like it made sense, and I just went with it. So
I think these are great ideas. A lot of these ideas here, and I think it all comes back to the feats and the grind. We need to find ways to make the feats engaging and limit the grind. And so good luck, CG. Take the feedback for what it's worth. Now, here's the next part that I want to get into is outside of Conquest, I think that this game needs something to just inject some life and some excitement into the veins of the players right now. And I want to go back because what I reflect on is when Vader got his rework, right? What that did to the community. To have a character that everybody loved, ratchet up in viability, and have a new ability. It was so true to the lore. It was just so fun to use. I think right now the game could really use something like that again. And obviously we're defining a new era where we're kind of more hesitant to make these characters GL killers, okay? So you can still rework a character that we all love, give them viability without making them GL killers. One of the top characters I think of is like Princess Leia, for example.
Absolutely,
a character that's almost never had really legitimate viability since 2016, at least. At the very beginning, she had a spot in the, a moment where, I don't know how long you've been playing, but she had her moment. Years. But you've been playing for 23 years?
I said only 3 years. I'm 21. I that would have been some crazy min-maxing right there.
I've literally been playing since I was sperm.
Exactly. I oftentimes tell stories like, my mom told me on the day I was born, and then I say some profound thing, and then I say, and I replied, wham, because, I was just born and I couldn't speak or understand. But
so anyway, what do you think about that? That idea specifically, and other ways that they could just inject some life into the community right now, because there's so much negativity right now.
That's a great point. I think the Darth Vader was a huge turning point. Again, like I've harped on before, I do mostly early to mid-game free-to-play stuff in terms of content. That's kind of the group I associate with because that's where a lot of my accounts are. I don't have an end-game account. I'm not spending a bunch of money to have Lord Vader day one or whatever. And I think just fixing that early game, I know I need a better job. Well, I'm unemployed, so I need a job. But I think that early game is where a lot of the positive, hearts and minds kind of things can go on. Because there are so many new players coming to the game. All of my comments in like chat on a live stream or in like really old videos that are guides, it's like, hey, I'm new, I'm level 40. Is this character, is this, that, or the other? And there's always new players coming in. And I think Darth Vader had a great, turning point because that new players had something fun to play with because you can get him early. I mean, he's achievements. Yeah. You can have him relic and have Merciless Massacre the second you hit level 85 easily, and then you can go wild and have fun. But it was never to a point where it's like you're going to beat someone who spent thousands of dollars. I think you're absolutely right. Princess Leia is actually a really, really good recommendation from you because that's an iconic character. It kind of suffers from being in the game too early to be a galactic legend. Maybe we get Endor Leia or whatever, random stuff we're going to do there.
Jedi training Leia. Oh, what an idea. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll be here all week. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
All
Thank you. But yeah, I think reworks, everyone's going to go, we want rework Mace Windu, but they've said they're never doing that. So I think a rework would be great. I think a game mode would be fantastic.
The reason I'm not recommending Mace Windu is because there's a member of my community who would just be a little too excited about that, so I'm not going to give him the pleasure.
Yeah, I actually told him that I was going to get it done just to ruin all of, the effort he's put in over the last however many years and completely invalidate his entire existence. But, we won't give him the satisfaction.
So character reworks would be really good. And then something, I'm going to advocate for something right now. I can't believe that we've gotten to a point where I'm going to advocate for this, but I think we need a lot more marquee characters dropping in the game.
I agree.
New characters.
When was the last time we got a legendary? When was the last time we had, marquees? I mean, well, it was recently with Bad Batch, but,
And I feel like that one out of everything we've talked about might be the most realistic to happen because it feels like with the changes that they made on the road ahead and the nerfs and kind of dividing things out is that they wanted to be able to release characters more freely without having to worry about this defense issue and all of that and the defense penetration, etc. And so I almost wonder if the reason they're doing that is because they do want to have more freedom in releasing characters more frequently. And so now that's happened. I'm hoping that we start seeing that. And I know some people look at new characters as a whale's paradise. It's a character you can get at 3 stars as a free to play and then eventually farm up. It's obviously you're going to have to wait to be able to use those characters at the relic levels if you're not spending money. But I still think that those new characters coming into the game from franchise moments that we love is very valuable. And not seeing any new characters since Omega right now is just feels off to me. I mean, obviously Lord Vader, but he's a galactic legend, so we don't care about him.
Yeah, and Capital Games talks a lot about they want this, they're making plans for 5 to 10 years down the road. And while that is ridiculously excessive for a mobile game, and Clash of Clans has been around forever, there are games that can have longevity like that. I think investing in the infrastructure of the game, i.e., go back, give us a, I'm just going to randomly name fan favorites, but they can be whatever, 212, Gungans, this, that, or the other. Make
Dude,
more weaker
Gungans? Are you
Geonosian level.
freaking kidding
I would
me?
wail on Gungans. I would get a job.
I would go to the I would get a job. I will flip burgers for Gungans. Okay.
Exactly. I'm gonna put that on a T-shirt. We're gonna make history.
That should be it. We should start a podcast called Burgers for Gungans.
Burgers for Gungans. Yeah, and we do it while at work at a fast food restaurant. Just see how many times we can get fired in a month from different fast food chains.
Actually,
I think
this sounds like a really bad idea.
I think it sounds like a really bad idea, but a boy can dream.
Oh man. Okay, so marquee characters. Is there anything else? I think we've kind of covered a lot of ground here. Is there any other items of feedback you have that you think would make a difference right now in kind of turning things around?
That's a great question. I think they've improved drastically on community interaction,
So
whether it be on the
much.
phone
Yes.
or exclusives with UGOM, RSG, people like that, or just hanging out in SWGoH events or whatever it may be.
You even got an interview.
I got an interview, but it wasn't like an exclusive event. It was just
but at least they're talking to you, right? And
yeah, exactly.
An interview first, exclusive tomorrow, right? So it'll come.
Exactly.
Come,
I actually have the Darth Jar Jar exclusive. I signed an NDA, but just rip that up. I'm
cat's
getting
out of the bag. What's
out of the bag.
Okay? You can send me the kid after the video.
Yeah. I'll send you all the screenshots.
All right,
we'll get in touch. But yeah, I think if they did like some sort of weekly or monthly, like, hey, we are going to log on for 30 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
We're going to sit in a room. We're going to have a screen open and we're just going to answer questions. We're going to hit you with, hey, we can't talk about this is coming in the future. Or, this is what our team worked on today. Maybe, it'd obviously be spoiler heavy because a lot of stuff, but like just telling us like, hey, the development team worked on kits for characters who are coming in the future, and we like the progress that we've made. We just want to let you guys know that every day we're, if this was like a monthly thing, it would be an event. They could do it for charity. They have their Extra Life charity right now. Crumbs raised $5,500.
Yeah, he's doing great work, man.
Drop a super chat for a donation for Extra Life. We'll talk about this, that, or the other about what our week or a month was like over at Capital Games, making the game better. And I think people would love that.
I think that's a super awesome. I've always wanted to see CG do like a truly live Q&A with the community on video. Remember, they used to do the text Q&As, right? What I didn't love about I liked those because we pick out nice little tidbits of information, but they could totally cherry pick the questions they chose to answer and the ones they didn't choose to answer. And so kind of, I think they seem to be getting more comfortable with putting themselves out there on the hot seat and just taking it, And I would love to see them in a position like that where they're just sitting with a streamer, whether it's you, whether it's Heinze, Gridden, Arnold, I think, which by the way, I'm going to go on record and say I'd really like to see them do something with Arnold as well. It would be awesome to see them actually field questions like that as well. But I don't think that's that far of a cry right now. They seem to be moving in that direction.
Yeah, that's definitely something that they could do. And I think, it would have, it's an event-based thing and people show up for event-based things. I mean, you give Joe Schmo an exclusive live interview and the community will show up there and they will be supportive because we all love Star Wars at the end of the day. We all love Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes at varying levels, depending on the time of year, of course. But, we want this game to be successful. And when we have the opportunity to see if the game is, actively being made better or worse, we're going to be there. So I think that's something I could definitely capitalize on.
It's in their name. It's in their very nature to capitalize. Capital Games.
It is. Yeah.
All right. I think this was a good video. And everyone down below, I really hope I'm sure there's some devs that are going to be watching this. And so I'd encourage those CG powers that be to go down to the comments too. Read what people are saying down below, some bits of feedback that they've gotten. Like the video if you do enjoy it. Hopefully we can see things turn around. The game's too good. The game is too good to let die at this point. And I don't think it's like on its way out or anything like that. But I'd really like to see things kind of turn around. So anyway, AP Games, we're going to do a video over on your channel. Do you know what we're talking about yet? You told me.
I do.
What are we talking about? Can you give them a teaser?
First teaser. We just talked about what they can do, but now we're going to talk about what we can do to make the game better.
Ooh. Okay, SWGoH/OnlyFans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, it's onlyfans.com/Richard Biggs because I can't use AP Gains because they would find that. But they said if I use my legal name, it's totally fine.
All right, that's gonna be a fun topic. So link to that video will be down below. And as always, my brothers, don't forget